Hi everybody, Tracy Brown here. For those who don't know me, I think most people who watch my videos do, but just in case, just want to let you all know like who I am a little bit. So I guess those are weird statements like who am I? Well, I guess professionally I am a somatic nutrition therapist and intuitive eating and body image coach, and I guess I would call it embodiment teacher because I'm just as passionate about helping you be able to learn how to ride the waves of our felt sense, our emotions, our physicality internally, and build up our internal resources and external resources for life, as I am intuitive eating. So yeah, I did a lot of work on that stuff too, to share that just really great potential for us. So anyway, I guess that's what I do and what I live. And then otherwise, mom, wife, friend, sister, daughter, nature lover, that kind of thing. So I'm sitting outside and I'm getting ready to do a talk with you all about eating for the holidays, which is really interesting because it's 90 degrees still in Florida here. I did a little eye roll with a fellow mother at my daughter's school this morning. We had to do a project and we're like, oh yeah, it's feeling like the holidays are coming up, right? Eye roll, still 90 degrees, but we still need to talk about this. So I bring this video to you as a way of saying, as much as I don't want it to be true, I think it is for some of us that this time of year we're already starting to worry a little bit about Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all the holidays or even just breaks and vacations, all the ways in which we're not going to have total control over anything. Not just food and where we go, but our schedules will be different. And I think that when we are still learning how to be attuned to what we need, when we need it, and how to get those needs met, it can feel a little destabilizing. So that's what I want to bring up today, is how can we take the dread out of this time of year and just feel like we're going into this holiday season with not the plan, because again, this needs to really be about feeling like you have agency, which means like you're in charge and have autonomy about how you want to spend your time and eat and do things. But I also know when you're just learning this stuff, and when I say this stuff, I mean intuitive eating and body appreciation and all that changes in anything can feel like it takes a while to get your grounding back. So I want to share with you maybe just some stories from my past that you might resonate with, might be helpful for you. So when I started this journey, I came out of some intensive treatment, and my food looked very mechanical, but that's what worked for me, to not undereat. So I wanted to start from the basics. If you're somebody who's struggling with, I don't even know how much to eat, I know that if I undereat, I will be obsessive and I might binge, but I don't know how much is enough. And so for some of you, starting off with mechanical eating and basically making a plan to eat enough may be like the most peaceful thing you could do the next several months in different holidays or different things. If you going to every single invite for every holiday party is just too much, you don't have to say no to, or yes or no to everything. I wouldn't say that you should say no to everything, because that's taking yourself out of life. But being able to go to what might feel good to you would be a very important challenge and a good thing to be rejoining life. And for some of you reading this, it's like, I don't really restrict. I don't want to restrict, but I am scared big time of all the food that's going to be around the office, around my classroom, around my house, all the holiday things I have to go to, all the family stuff that I feel obligated to do. And so what I want to say to that is that it's going to take you some grounding and getting really clear about your desires, your motives, and how you want it to go. Like basically making some decisions and putting your stake in the ground of this is what I want to see happen. And I'll just share with you a story. I would think it's my, gosh, and again, you know, the years it took me to get to like full, what I would say full intuitive eating-hood, meaning, you know, I can eat what I want, not feel overwhelmed or guilty for any quote-unquote mistakes I made in eating. Let's say if I overate, it's not a big deal. That took me many years to get to that level where I'm at now, where I'm just continuously learning and adapting, and not every week's the same, and that's to be expected, versus feeling like every week should look the same. It's, you know, so the first year was mechanical eating all the way to not undereat. And then the second year, again, because I wasn't, you know, I didn't understand the full length if I wanted to, you know, not have as many ups and downs in the process, let's say. And I, you know, needed more support. But it didn't happen. So, and this is why I'm talking to you guys to like provide that for support, because we don't always have access to it where we are, or think we can't get it. And this is what we're going to talk about a little bit more today. But, the second year was a lot about like, the second year was the funniest, because I was at this place where, okay, I wasn't mechanically eating as much anymore, but I was still kind of restricting, deprivation-driven eating. And so I recognized that if I wasn't going to sliver the pie and the stuffing and all the things to death in the corner off people's plates after they had finished eating and they weren't looking, that I needed to make sure that I ate what I wanted. And so literally the second year, when I was trying to learn intuitive eating, on my plate was, when I say ginormous, you know, think of a regular sized dinner plate and about 3 pieces worth of cake in one. That was my dinner. And I think I had a little palmful of turkey, because I generally like turkey. And I knew I would need a little balance of something that wasn't so sweet, to feel some satisfaction. And that literally was my dinner. And I gotta tell you, of course, I was the only one doing something like that. Most people are eating how we might consider most people to eat, which is a lot of different foods. And some people ate to like oblivion and stuffed, and some people it got really full, but they would eat again in, you know, 4 or 5 hours or whatever. I needed to do that because I knew what would happen if I didn't. I knew what would happen, because I'd done it, you know, many Thanksgivings prior, is try to make my plate look all like nutrition-y and not eat the things I really wanted, and end up sneaking and hiding and eating all kinds of things in private if I could, or even doing that when I got home, bringing the leftovers home and then just eating them. And so I didn't want to do any of those kind of things again. So literally that plate was like that. And was that hard? Totally. Because I worried what people would think. I worried about that I wasn't getting enough nutrition or variety and all the things. But what I really needed was somebody to tell me, well, what would that be like for you? And can you tune into that? And what was going on? And to give me, you know, kind of build some safety and trust back in myself. And so that's why I'm offering this year a way to walk through all those steps of how we're going to do the holiday meals, how we're going to do Thanksgiving, how we're going to do parties and food gifts and all those type of things, as well as plug in your self-care and get really clear about what you want to do and how you want to spend your time, or what things you want to do and what things you don't want to do. And so I'm offering, and I've not done this online before, it's just been, you know, kind of locally in person. But I think it's time to bring the party online and allow people who don't have access to that level of security and safety and planning into this holiday time. So I know it seems early. It's like October 10th or 13th I'm doing this video. But it starts now. It starts now, like getting yourself and your nervous system out of the jangliness of never stopping to pay attention to the stuff and what you want, or out of like, well, I'll deal with it later when it comes. And then we're caught off guard or even surprised, or we had a really hard time and we didn't think it was going to be that hard. So I don't want you to get caught up in already anticipating so this is what typically happens, is that we're not really thinking about it in the forefront, but in the background it's like a little bit of a buzz of like, okay, so how am I going to handle Halloween candy, or what am I going to do when my kid brings all that home, or it's in the office, or Thanksgiving, like how am I going to deal with that? And a lot of times it's not really about how am I going to deal with it and the food. Sometimes that's part of it, but also it's like, how am I going to deal with it? Meaning all the circumstances, whom I've got to be around, whomever it is I have a hard time in a relationship with, or I just don't want to be around because they're toxic, or they're going to say things like around food and diet that I don't know how to deal with and I don't want to be around. And so those are the kind of things we're going to talk about, like how to navigate all that to where you feel like you have plan A and maybe plan A through Z if you need it, depending on what happens. So I want you all to feel like you have a toolbox going in from honestly now until the end of the year and beyond that. So what we're doing here is some of us are going to be joining for 6 weeks starting November 1st, and each week we're going to meet for however long. It could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, depending on how many people want to join the party, and have our own celebration of getting attuned to our needs, so like both individual and collective, of supporting each other. And your journey might be, what I really need is to get really clear about how I'm going to manage my hunger and fullness on Thanksgiving Day. Perfect. We're going to break that down. Some people might say, I just feel all these obligations and it's stressing me out and I can't feel my hunger and fullness. Okay, let's break that down one step at a time and first learn how to feel the sensations and what they mean and what you want to do with that. And everything in between. And we'll also talk about, like, if you have some people you just don't want to be around, you have that choice. And if you don't feel like you have that choice, let's help you feel closer to that, if not all the way there. So 6 weeks left. So starting November 1st, that's a Wednesday. Probably going to start those in the evening, and that might be up for negotiation depending on everybody who shows up in their schedules, and if we can get it in the morning or midday, if that feels better for you, your schedule, your energy level, those kind of things. That's what we're going to do. Also, I'm going to open up a little Facebook group for us. It's in secret. That way you all can go back and forth and just say, hey, I'm doing this. What do you all think? And just share victories, or share like, I'm really struggling. And has anybody been through this? And provide, very supportive, not so much advice giving, but more about, hey, I hear you and I see you. And if this were me, this is how I might handle it, or whatever. So, again, very helping each other build ourselves up together. And then I'm also throwing in, not because I'm going to throw it in, because I think it's a really great resource, is I did this kind of self-study holiday guide that has about 45, it's basically like another free bonus session around hunger fullness work. I have a fun little goodie bag of some little things that you can print off and cut out, of reminding yourself of like where you want to be, who you are, what is it you're wanting to accomplish here, to visually remind you, and lots of self-care little worksheets, and getting really clear about how you want your days to go. So I want you to feel like when you go in, you're prepared. You've got lots of things going on for yourself. And then the last thing I want to really excited about is after the fact, and this is just another, so this is going to be like a free bonus session, is after the fact, we are going to make our plan for when these holiday things roll around. We know that probably starting in December at some point that there are going to be lots of diet advertising stuff. And I would love to see you all feel like, all right, bring it on, because I'm not falling for it anymore. To not be planning out your next diet or how you're going to like have a resolution to do something. It's more about, no, this is me 52 weeks a year, being able to stay grounded and go day to day with whatever it is I'm feeling and use my tools the best I can. So it's not that like external circumstances of what the world's doing have to impact you as much, and hopefully as little as possible. So I'm going to put a link in the comments below this about just the details. You can read about it, all kinds of ways in which you could be involved if you want to. But I'm really excited because this is something I wish I would have had, like a game plan going in. And there's all kinds of levels in which you can participate whatever feels good to you. So I see some people join, which I'm so happy you're here with me midday on a Friday. And I'd love to hear any questions or concerns or comments. Oh, hi, Christina. Thank you. Yeah, you're so welcome. If you need something, please leave a comment down there, and I want to help if possible. So let me know. And I was going to talk about a couple of things. I remember my third year of doing intuitive eating. It was similar to the second year in terms of the whole first year was literally cake on my plate, and that was my dinner, or that was lunch. We had lunch at my house. We didn't do like the midday or like 3 o'clock kind of meal. Was noon. Everything's really traditional. And the second year was kind of similar. Literally, I had dessert on my plate with the other fixings, but I could notice that like I was able to be more discerning that year of like, what of all the 20 different options I have here actually really sounds the best. I remember that year that was the first time that I didn't finish everything on my plate, because one thing was kind of, I'm trying to remember, gosh, we're working on, 15 plus years ago, but I do remember that there was something that wasn't that awesome. Oh, it used to be one of the things I used to binge on kind of, which was stuffing. And I remember it wasn't as good as usual. And I was like, oh, I was feeling really disappointed. And that was a little frustrating. I love that. Yeah. Your first year of stuffing. Yeah. My first year, if you didn't hear earlier, it was, my grandma makes this really good orange coconut cake, which is not exactly traditional for Thanksgiving, but it's the family fave. And that's what my meal was. And it was like 3 pieces in one on my plate. That was the first year. Those are good learning experiences to do those kind of things. So I'm glad that you're sharing that, because we're not the only ones then. That's awesome that was helpful. How the third year was helpful for me is like remembering, even though I felt like I should finish it or I should like it, it's like I really don't. And I think I went back and got more dessert. That was the third year. So were any of those plates or meals balanced? Of course not. But that's not really what intuitive eating is about. It's not about managing it with your mind one meal at a time. It's about doing the best with what a combination of all your needs are. So not just your physical needs, like your hunger, fullness, but your appetite, the availability of the food, how you're doing, how often you get that food, and what just feels the most manageable. So, this year really isn't about, if you're in this first several years of doing this process, is that, yes, I love that. Yeah, this is really about learning to trust yourself, which is some years and some meals, it's not going to look like how it's going to look a year 10 or a year 15, but we've got to start at a place and move forward. So if we can kind of make that decision to let it be okay that it's not how everybody else eats, or it's not how you think you should be eating, but what is the best thing for you to do at this moment, you're going to learn so much. And you might have a mix of empowerment and, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And that's okay. That's what, we're here to support you with and to learn from and gather the evidence and all that. So thank you for everybody that showed up. I love it. Thank you so much. And for those listening to the recording, I still want to hear your questions, your concerns, what you feel like your worst case scenario is, so we can plug that in to your learning and your support and how I can help you. So if you find this was helpful to other people, please share. Please share this video, share the link for people who are just like, I'm just starting, or I've been at this a while and I still haven't quite figured out the right mix for me. I do want to say though, that doing what I've learned about doing groups, even not just in person but online these last several years, is that when I've done my own work personally in groups, what I've been noticing is that when you really tune in, it's not so much all your details that are applicable to the other person. It's the essence of what they're working on that you can apply to yourself. So you literally, depending on how many people in the group, whether it's 4 or it's 10 or whatever, you are going to get like 4 more or 10 other mini sessions for yourself. And especially if you go back and listen to things again, you'll see like, oh, that's me too. I just didn't realize it in the moment. And you're gonna, take a lot from hearing other people's, their angle, their doorway in to the process too. So, I love some, likes and hearts and all that kind of stuff, just to let people know that you felt like this was helpful, valuable, inspirational. If you have comments that this wasn't like, oh, I need more, then tell me, and I'm happy to do that. So anyway, I'm not sweating yet, which is great. Usually by this time of day, I'm in the shade, which is good. Thank you, Christina. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it is still 90-something degrees in October in Florida. Boo. But I chose to live here, right? So that's on me. But I'm ready for it to cool off, at least some. That would be nice. So anyway, thank you. I'm sorry if you're in cold weather and you're already feeling cold and you don't like it. Well, how about we share? I'll push some your way and you push some cool weather mine. To everybody watching this, I just want to share a little bit of I'm still thinking about people here in Florida and all over the Southeast, in Texas too, ravaged by all this hurricane stuff, and out west the fires. I happen to know some people personally who have been really impacted by that. So I hope my thoughts and prayers are enough. I don't know. It's one of those things, and the way I can give in the way I can. So if you all feel called for a little thought or whatever way you feel best to help too, that'd be awesome, because it's a hard time for a lot of people, and there's another good reason to shore ourselves up so we can just bring more encouragement and stability to each other. So, oh my gosh, Christina, it's 40 degrees. We love the cold. Oh my God. I know that someday I'm going to leave Florida. I don't know what year. It's going to be down the road. My kid's out of high school, so a while. And I'm not sure. That sounds good right now. You have to check in with me in about, she's 6, so however many years that is until she's out of school. If I'll love 40 degrees again. I'm from the Midwest originally, so I remember cold. It wasn't terrible, but there were some times it got old too. So anyway, thank you for everybody who's joining today. If you're just getting here late, I'm getting ready to sign off, but please listen to the replay and ask me questions, comments, love, whatever. And if I can be of more help, just let me know. Thank you all so much for coming live and in the replay. Yeah. I love that. That's so some small acts of love and kindness are getting us through. Yep, for sure. I love that. Me too. I, you hear those things. I leave little notes, things, and sometimes I do buy people's coffee and try to do little things here or there, and that definitely keeps me hopeful too. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say about this for now. But I think one of the things, I have one more story, and I'll be done. As I remember, there was a woman who did this class a couple years ago with me in person, and literally what her biggest joy about that is that we walked through hunger and fullness. She could do hunger and fullness work, but the idea of all those foods that she didn't know what was in was taking her out of her trust of her body, because I think she was pretty comfortable with the foods she typically ate from hunger and fullness, and this was really an opportunity for her to go the next step. So literally what we did, we kind of mapped out, even though that might feel or seem kind of controlling to some of you, for her it felt like, okay, if I know that I can get to a 7-ish at breakfast, I know to expect to be hungry in 3 or 4 hours, and lunch is going to be later. So just for her to have a kind of a mental idea of knowing what's going to happen with hunger and fullness helped her trust what she was going to eat. So those are the kind of things that we can do and work on and give you an idea of what do you really want to eat and how full do you actually want to get. For some people, again, that's going to feel like, whoa, that's too managing. But for some people, that's going to feel just right. So wherever level you're at, I'd love to have you in our group and join and work through all the different levels of layers of what you're looking for. So if it's somatic and self-care work, we're going to do that. If it's literal food work to figure out what do you want to feel and feel safe about that, we're going to do that too. So thank you all so much for coming and watching, and until the next time, I'll see you soon. Thanks.